Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hey y'all, how you doing? Kenitra Moselle here. I am the founder of Grace for This, and this is our Grace to Build session. Why? Because we are planning for impact and it's time for the builders to arise. The time is 8:02. I'm going to give it just a couple of seconds for some of the rest of the crew to jump in, and we'll get right into our session tonight. I would like to give an introduction of Grace for This while we are waiting. So, Grace for This is a community for women, especially for women of faith who are taking ownership of their wellness journey personally, relationally, and professionally. Inside of this community, we are grieving, we are healing, and we are building. I'll say it again. Inside of this community, we are grieving, we are healing, and we are building. So we're excited for all of the growth that's been happening inside of this space. And we recently launched our Grace to Build annual planner. And so with our Grace to Build annual planner, it is a template or a guide for you to actually house your blueprints. It is a guide for you to house your blueprints, because if you are building what helped you heal, it means that there's a specific pathway that you are creating for your audience, for your community, for the people who you really feel a burden to help to build. So I'm going to take this down. I'm going to talk to you guys. Let me pin my screen that way nobody ends up on the screen. Welcome to Sade. I am going to spotlight it. Okay. Greetings and salutations. Okay, I'm good to go. All right, so we're gonna have just a quick session, quick session tonight because we have a new product out. I always want to make sure that you guys are clear and you understand how to use the product. Okay, I want to maximize your your benefit of using the product that we make, and I absolutely want to invite you guys to give us feedback. Okay, so I am going to walk us through the steps. I'm going to put the screen share back up one more time as we move through the process tonight. So again, I'll say welcome, 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 and I'll go through my introduction. So this is what you can expect tonight. Of course, we're going to have the welcome, which is already done. I'll introduce myself formally. So those of you guys who are new to the Grace for This community or new to Kenitra Moselle, you know who I am and what kind of builder I am. And then we're going to go into 3 different parts of our session tonight, okay? The first part is going to be Builders Arise. I want to challenge you to understand who you are. The second part is dream big. That is so important for us to dream big. And then thirdly, we'll talk about building. We'll talk about let's build, and then I'll yield and allow you guys to ask a couple of questions. Okay, so welcome again. This is the Grace to Build annual planning workshop. Why? Because it's time for builders to arise. There's really a great sense of urgency on a lot of us right now to launch some things in the year 2024. In 2024. And so we're at the end of one year and we're preparing to transition into the next year. And there's a sense of urgency. There's a type of obedience that's kind of like yanking us up a little bit. And it's kind of like, I got to do it. I got to start it. And so we are yielding and we are being obedient to the instructions that we believe God has given us. Remember, this is a community for women of faith. And so our faith is very important to us, and we believe in the higher power, which is God, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. We believe on Jesus. And so there's some things that work and tug on the inside of us a little bit differently from people of different faiths. And so we have to respond with a different sense of urgency. So I'm here to be a guide. I'm here to be a blueprint for that, okay? And so to introduce myself, my name is Kenitra Moselle, aka they call me Coach K. And so just a little bit about my educational background. I have a bachelor's in nursing. Y'all, I am a registered professional nurse. Yes, I am. 15 years working at the VA in Augusta, Georgia. I have a master's in nursing with a focus in leadership and management. And for the second half of my nursing career, I worked in information and outcomes. And so I did data analysis. We did systems development. We created databases and systems in order to track and trend data and present that data so that our stakeholders, who were the executives, who were the service line directors, as well as the nursing staff at the bedside, technicians, and everybody could understand what we were doing and how it equated to either dollars and cents or improve patient outcomes. Okay. So I am a data analysis, I'm a trend person. I like systems, I like evaluations, I like efficiency, all of those things. Okay. And so if I were to divide who I am into three categories, you will understand that I am a coach, I am a consultant, and I am a creator. That coaching, you're going to experience that today. The consulting, if you ever had a one-on-one with me, you understand that I can give you wisdom and instruction on several different types of things. And I'll say that creating comes into play when we're talking about events and how to create a hospitality experience that is customized to the needs of your target audience, or the clients or the people you're called to serve. And lastly, all things kingdom and community. I love it. Forgive me, I'm hitting on the table. Y'all might be able to hear that in the recording, but all things kingdom and community. I believe that kingdom and community should be one and the same. And so I am an advocate for all things kingdom. And you're going to see that if you follow me on my own personal platforms, you're going to see that it is an underlying current that runs throughout all the things that my hands touch. And so our session tonight is called Builders Arise. Our session tonight is called Builders Arise. And I love the fact that that is the name that the Lord gave me. Why? Because I was a builder first. I am a builder. And you see some of my logos, it's not all of them. It's not all of them, but it is a couple of them. These logos tell a little bit of a journey. On the left, you see that I have events Bonafide events planning services. And so that was my first business, my LLC. And I was focusing on events, specifically on brides, specifically on wedding planning. So logistically and with hospitality, I love to orchestrate and direct what's going on inside of major events, whether it is directing like, the smaller group of people, or whether we're creating a hospitality experience for the customers, which would be your wedding guests inside of a wedding. So I started off with wedding planning. Then we launched the nonprofit Bonafide Impact Academy in 2022, in June of 2022. And so middle school and high school age students are our target audience, and our core pillars, our core values inside of Bonafide Impact Academy are to inform, to influence, and to impact. Why? Because when you give young people the information, they'll begin to learn where their area of influence is, and they'll take that influence and make an impact on their local and their global communities. Of course, Grace for this. It's a community for women of faith who are taking ownership of their wellness journey in three ways: personally, relationally, and professionally. And then you have the hospitality suite. The hospitality suite is where I am the hospitality coach, and I am helping leaders and visionaries with kingdom and community impacting projects to plan for impact and deliver hospitality that heals. And so I said all that to say that I am a builder. I love building, and I have blueprints for days. Okay. So that is why I'm here. I'm serving. One of the things that I like to say is that life can be hard and your journey can hurt, but commit to heal so your story can help. If you've been in anything that is grace for this, you have heard me say those words before. You probably can say it with me at this point, okay? You probably can quote it with me because it's everywhere. But I feel like that is a really big heartstring for a lot of us, because if you're in this space, or if you're watching this recording, you have gotten to a point in your journey where you're beginning to build what helped you heal. But before you can build what helped you heal, you had to actually commit to heal and realize that your story has the potential to help. And so that leads us to this last statement before I cross over, is that we have a call on our lives now to build what helped us heal. And so having said that, it's time for our builders to arise. All right, you guys. So that was the introduction. I want to encourage you to write questions in the comments. I will be able to go back and view these. We are streaming to our YouTube channel right now. So if you're watching on YouTube, hey y'all, hey. You know what? I didn't even try to go over and set it, but you're watching on YouTube. I'm gonna pull it up just so I can see if anybody's in the comments there, because I don't want to overlook you guys. But I am sending it to the YouTube channel, and that audio should not affect us. Okay. All right, guys. So let's get into it. We're breaking it up into three sections. Remember, we're starting off with Builders Arise. Yes. There we go. It's pulling up over there now. Okay, guys. Hey, Laura. Okay. All right. We got one person there. I'm gonna set her up here. Y'all forgive me. I want to baby get sight lines. Okay. And so, yeah, we're going to get into it, right? So, how exciting, how exciting, how exciting. So yeah, y'all. So we have our Grace to Build, our annual planner. And so what it is doing is giving us blueprints. Why? Because you have a very special genius. I was doing a session with one of my sisters, and she's in the Zoom room with me today. And so we have been talking and planning and strategizing throughout the year on what that layout looks like. How do you follow your progress? Like, God is really giving us a blueprint of what he wants our obedience to look like. But in all of that, faith without works is still dead. So what we have to do, yay, Laura, what we have to do is outline what it is we're doing, because you can have the thought one moment and you can lose it in the next. So in order to maximize on our obedience, we want to take the time and to write in what it is God has given us. Okay. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do, I'm going to share the screen again, because I want you guys to have a visual of what we're talking about. But you know what? I'll do the session first. Okay. So I feel like I kind of touched on it, but I want to go back into it a little bit more. All right. So this thing about the Builders Arise, I want to take you guys back with me just a little bit. If you were following me in the beginning of third quarter, maybe you might remember there was a series that I was led to do, and it was called Builders Arise. Builders Arise. And what we ended up talking through during that series was the story of Moses and the story of Joshua, and identifying if we were Moses, if we were Joshua, or if we toggled between the two, depending on where we were in our building journey and our healing journey. All right. And so what we understood was that we are Joshuas. We we have Moses in us, but essentially right now where we are, God is calling us to be Joshua. And I want to point out that one of the issues that Moses had was that he had some soul issues because of his experience with the people. Okay. He had some difficulties, some challenges with the people. And because he did not go to God about what was wounding him as a human, it affected his obedience and his service to God's people. Because he didn't go to God about what was impacting his human experience, it rolled over into how he served God's people. So guess what, builders? We have to be careful in how we're managing ourselves and how we're managing what we're building and who is called to serve. Are y'all following me? Let me know in the comments. Okay. So we're building what helped us heal. But as we're building what helped us heal, we have to remember what we healed from and what that journey looks like. Remember what you healed from and what your journey looked like. Why? Because you're going to encounter yourself. You're going to encounter a non-healed version of yourself in the future. Why? Because you're called to serve who you used to be. Okay. And so it is time for us to rise up and build. I'm saying that because it's time for us to rise up and build. And you are more than equipped. You are more than able. You are more than qualified to build what helped you heal. Why? Because you've gone through the process. You have committed to the journey. You've been honest with yourself about what your experience is. And now you can help somebody else maneuver through that, right? Now, I don't want to say maneuver. You can help somebody else move through the process of healing, right? And so I want you to understand that you're a builder and it's time for you to rise up. If you are here, you understand that you are a builder and you are committing to doing the work to rise up. So I want you to pat yourself on the back. Absolutely pat yourself on the back, because there are some people who have not moved yet. Okay, catch that. There are some people who have not moved yet. So I want you to understand where you are in your obedience journey. You have taken very big steps, and I want you to understand that that is worthy of a round of applause. Okay. So do that. All right, I'm getting ready to share my screen with you guys. And let's talk about the Builders Arise. And I want you to understand how you are maneuvering through that inside of your planner. Okay. Inside of your planner, you should be able to see my screen now, okay? You can see my screen, and you can see that there are 3 sections from top to bottom. There are 3 sections from top to bottom. And the first thing that it says across the top, what does it say? Build what helped you heal. Are you surprised? You should not be, because that's what we do inside of this community. We're grieving, we're healing, and we're building. But I built this inside of the planner because I want you to have a reference point of where you have come from. I want you to have a reference point of what your triumph is. I want you to actually identify the thing in your journey that was traumatic for you and be able to have a reference point to that. Why? Because when you build what helped you heal, it helps you keep things in perspective, and it helps you to consider what your target audience may need if they are an older version of you. So in this particular part of the planner, you are practicing that wellness work, and you're practicing that honesty, and you're going to fill in the thing that you had to grieve. What was something that wounded you? What was something in your past or your story, your childhood, your experience that was breaking to you? And I want you to reflect in this moment and write down what that thing was. What is it that you overcame? What did you overcome? What did you come out of? And then we go down to the heal section. In the heal section, I want you to reflect on what your journey has been like in your healing process. Because remember, life can be hard and your journey can hurt, but commit to heal so your story can help. So what part of your story is identifying your healing journey? What part of your story is identifying your healing journey? And can you actually trace at least three things? Can you pick out three things inside of your healing journey that were important? Three things. For example, community, conversation, and collaboration are the three things that helped me move through my grief journey. Community was everything. Conversation, when people had conversations with me and I made room to have conversation, it was great. And collaboration, because I've always been a builder. So I want to work with somebody. If I feel like you've been supportive to me or you show up a certain way, I'm going to want to work with you, because that is a part of something that is core to who I am. And so me building what helped me heal means creating a space for community, conversation, and collaboration for women of faith to take ownership of their wellness journey. You see how that works together? You have a similar story inside of your story. You have that pattern inside of your story. So identify three things. If you can, identify three things that actually helped you heal, that have been a part of your healing journey. And then lastly, build. Of course, what did you heal? What grieved you? How did you heal? And what can you build? I, Kenitra Moselle, I am building a community for women of faith to take ownership of their wellness journey. Why? Because I was unaware that I did not care well for myself. I did not realize I was neglecting my own needs. I did not know that I was ignoring my humanity, being super spiritual. And so that was a journey for me. And what actually helped me in that grieving process of that version of me, while also processing being a widow, community, conversation, and collaboration. So I created a community for women like me, women of faith, who need to take ownership of their wellness journey. Okay. So that is what you're able to do inside of your planner. That's what you do in the beginning. Okay. The second thing that I want you to identify after you've committed to what you're going to build, be prayerful about it. But what are you going to list as your top three goals? I only put three. Why? Because you cannot have 15 goals. You need three core things. Okay. You need three core things that you are working on for your year. Three top goals. Why? Because those three goals are going to inform all of your smaller goals. Okay. Those three goals are going to inform all of your smaller goals. So I want you to sit with what are three goals, and I want you to actually kind of stretch yourself. Before I go into the next section, I'm going to check the chat and make sure that we are good inside of the chat. Okay, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them. I see you on YouTube and I see you inside of the Zoom chat. So you guys are welcome to ask questions. But if you're doing good, give me a yes. Drop a yes in the comments if you are doing good and you're following me. If I need to slow down, just let me know. I will slow it down. But we are flowing. And so that was our Builders Arise. I want you to understand you are a builder. God has called you to do this thing, and you are taking steps towards your obedience. Okay. So that is good. Looks like everybody's okay. And I'm going to go ahead and move into the next section. All right, we're going to move into the next section. Okay, we got a yes in the comments. All right, so the next thing is think big, y'all. Oh my gosh. Like this is really a challenge for us sometimes. Sometimes it's really hard for us to think big. But inside of the journal, I have journals and I have planners. Inside of our planner, there are 4 categories. Okay, big ideas is the first one. Big ideas is the first one. The second one is big impact. How do you want to make an impact? How do you want people to be changed? What kind of results do you want people to experience? What kind of outcomes are you anticipating because you're building in a specific way? You got to dream of these things. You got to see it before you see it. Okay. And then we have to write the vision and make it plain. That's why we're taking the time to write it out. Okay. So these big ideas, these events you want to plan, and how you want people to be changed, like those things are very, very important. And I want to encourage you guys to dream really big. All right, this is our dream big section. Another 2 ways I want you to stretch your imagination and dream is big bag, baby. Guess what? Just because you build and will help you build does not mean that you cannot generate revenue. It does not mean that you cannot generate revenue. So I want you to really lean into this section inside of your planner and think about what your revenue goals are. Are you going to do a class? How much money would you like to generate from this class? And let me say this real quickly. Even if you're doing something that is a service-based program, if you're doing a foundation, if you're doing a nonprofit, remember, we just had big ideas a second ago. If you got big ideas, they're going to cost you big money. And if you don't think about how big your bag needs to be, how will you actually fund what needs to happen? How do you know what to stretch your faith for if you won't think about what revenue or money actually needs to come in order for you to build what helps you heal? So we cannot think small about what our revenue goals are. You actually have to consider and understand that money is a medium of exchange. And if you give money, you get something in return. You get a building, you get food, you get merchandise, something of that sort. Okay. And so I said merchandise, and that's where the big drip comes in. All right. The big drip down here, baby, the big drip here. I love the drip. Why? Because if your foundation is to help women with wellness, y'all will see that I have Grace for This shirts that say, be still, hear God, embrace grace for this. Why? Because there's a message there. And I want people to understand. Hey, Chanel, welcome, welcome, welcome. I want you guys to understand that you don't have to be limited in what you can do in your building. So you have to dream big. Golly, y'all drop in the comments. Who's your favorite celebrity, your favorite speaker right now? Tell me somebody you like to watch, even maybe one of your favorite shows. Share that with me. I want to pull something out of our individual stories. I'll give you guys a second to drop that in the comments. Okay. I give you a second to drop that in the comments, and then we'll move into these last 2 sections. And then y'all, we're not gonna be here very long. This is a good and quickie. This is a good quickie. Anybody have their favorite artist or celebrity, singer, speaker? Drop that person in the comments, and we'll see what we can pull from that person. Oh, girl, come on, Fantasia. Let me tell you something. If Fantasia dropped a line of dresses, I would not hesitate to buy it. Why? Because she shows up in the most amazing mermaid fitting shaped dresses. Like, she is a whole boss out here, honey. So if you were to think Fantasia, like drip, what? Fantasia can sell some dresses, baby. Why? If she says I'm gonna start a line of evening attire, how many people are not going to think twice about buying it? Why? Because she shows up so well, and how she is styled that she can drop a line. She probably wouldn't even have to pick any of the dresses, but because she looks so good in them, and we love some Tasia, baby, we will buy these dresses. Understand what I'm saying? So you can do the same thing in your nonprofit, in your foundation, in Grace for This, whatever it is, catering. If your food is that good, baby, we will wear a shirt with your logo on it. Like, period. People will connect to whatever your brand is. And so don't hesitate to have some merch that represents your brand. You can have your logo on it. One of my sisters and I were talking about that today, about having the shirts and the apparel in there. So that's a part of the things that you have to dream of. Sometimes we don't think that, oh, I don't need this and I don't have this, or I'm not that big yet. Baby, you are your whole brand. As our sister of the brand developer, Lanika, says, you are your brand. And so don't hesitate. Do not hesitate to show up in formation. Come on, Lecrae 116. Don't even go there with me talking about Lecrae. Honey, I love some Lecrae. Oh my gosh. I have, do I have any 116 merch? I feel like I had a hat, but it got away from me from one of the offspring. I got a bonus baby, y'all. I feel like it got away from me. But when it comes to like 116, when you think about Lecrae and who he represents and what his community is, you see that 11 and then the SIX, you know 116 represents a whole squad of people. They represent a genre of music that represents a generation that got a voice, right? Lecrae represents so much to us in the music industry, but in hip hop and as a believer. He represents somebody who does not mind disrupting things. Right. So Lecrae is a brand, and there are things about Lecrae that we love what it represents. And so when you see a 116, like some people have 116 tattoos, right? When you see somebody with a 116 tattoo on them, and it is the 116 logo, it's made just like Lecrae and them, you know who you're talking to. You know who that person is. And so I wanted y'all to share those. Yes, I wanted y'all to share those examples because I want to connect the dot with branding and merchandise. Your merchandise is an extension of your story, your mission, your passion. People are going to remember something very specifically about you when they see your branding, your shirt, your logo. Those things are really important. Okay. So when we're in our dream big phase, I want you to consider and dream about what your merch is going to look like. And also, I'll say this, and I'm kind of going on a tangent, and then we'll transition. I want to talk to you guys about barriers, and then we'll go into the other example of how to use that last section. Okay, so did I lose my thought? Forgive me, y'all. I think I'm losing my thought. Bring it back, Lord. We were talking about brands. We were talking about Lecrae. We were talking about mission. If it doesn't come back, I'll keep going. I'll keep going. Okay, if it comes back, I will come back to it. Let's get into the barriers. Okay, let's get into barriers. All right, so I'm sharing my screen. Okay, so this section here is it's the barriers. Why? Because you have to build blocks to overcome before they block you. You have to build to overcome before they block. Barriers. Barriers are things that will keep you from making progress. And so when you sit down and you're planning out your year, you're looking at the theme for your month. And notice we put the quarter differentiations and kind of the color scheme up there. And so you see Q1 is January, February, March. You see Q2 is in the light blush color, okay? And so you see that from Q1 to Q4, so you can differentiate, right? And so when you are taking the time to plan out what it is that you are working on, you have to take a sober step back and ask yourself, okay, what are the barriers that would keep me from executing? What barriers would keep me from building and executing the plans for Q1? Hey, mute your microphones, y'all. So when you come in, so when you're thinking about what the barriers are, you have to be honest. Like you have to be honest about what is going to challenge you. Because if you're not honest about the barriers to your progress, then you cannot build in protection. You can't build in your strategy if you're not honest about what would challenge you. Okay. So write honesty in the comments. Okay. Just drop honesty in the comments. I'll come to the chat in just a second, y'all. So, and if you have questions, write them in the comments. Absolutely. So yeah, you're gonna identify what these barriers are. You identify what the barriers are. Then the second thing you're gonna do is you're gonna write in what you need to build to keep that barrier from working against you. For example, if you have small children, and your spouse works away a lot. If you have small children and you know that you need 1 hour 3 days a week. If you need 1 hour 3 days a week, what are you going to do? If childcare is a concern, if childcare is something that can happen, like I don't have somebody to watch my kids, you need to have a backup person who you can call and say, hey, I got this going on. My husband's going to be gone this week. I need at least 1 hour on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Can you cover me? Can you come over and sit with the kids while I go to Starbucks and work for an hour? The barrier is I don't have childcare. What you're building is a person who can actually step in and help you if you need that kind of assistance. Okay. So I wanted you guys to understand how to work that specific section of it. And you do that each quarter. It's a bonus row on here. Okay. There's a bonus row just in case there you find 4 things that could possibly be barriers for you guys. Okay. So I'm going to stop the screen share and I'm going to check the comments and see how you guys are doing. Thank y'all for jumping in. It is definitely a Tuesday night, but I see y'all. Hey. All right. Thank y'all for following through on that honesty piece. That's super duper important for us. Okay. And so I'm not going to share the screen, but I want you guys to just take notice that there is a page that says 12 interesting topics. Cheat code. Are you ready? Cheat code. If you're not sure what to have a focus for as you go throughout the year, write down 12 things that you're interested in talking about. Write down 12 topics that you want people to get information on. Those can be your themes for the month. If you can write down 12 things, those 12 things can be your category or your theme for the month. And then you plan out some things based on what your theme is. Okay. Cheat code. If you get stuck, most of us have a specific business or brand we're already building. A lot of us are authors and writers. But if you get stuck, what is that thing that you enjoy talking about? What is that thing you enjoy doing? Write down 12 things about that thing. And there you go. Okay. All right. So taking a breather. It's 8:34. We are definitely going to be done before 9 o'clock, y'all. We got 3 more. We got 3 more categories inside your planner that I want to go through. Okay. 3 more categories that I want you guys to move through. Okay. So let me make an adjustment here. And I'm going to share my screen again. It is coming up shortly. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. Like to hear it go. Let's build. Right? Because we are what? Builders, and we are arising. So this category is called Let's Build. Why? Because you're getting into the work. This is that calculated obedience. This is you sitting down and taking the time to write and fill out what those details actually look like. Okay. And so when you get into the Let's Build section, you're going to see that you can look at your quarter at a glance. We're looking at Q1 on 1 page. Catch me. On 1 page, we see Q1, the whole thing. I need it. Why? Because we're serving, we're selling, and we're scaling. I want y'all to say it out loud. You don't have to type it. We're serving, we're selling, and we're scaling. Serve, sell, and scale. That is the model that the Lord gave me. Serve, sell, and scale. In the process of 1 quarter, you have an ultimate goal. Across the top of your page, you're going to write what that goal is. Now, you can refer back to your 3 top goals, or you can look at a smaller goal that connects to one of those three goals. But you're going to have a goal for this quarter. So let's say that your goal for this quarter is to build your community, for example. I want to grow grace for this, and I want to talk about grief. Okay, what am I going to do? So Kenitra, what am I going to do in January? I'm going to share clips from the book and brunch. I'm going to share clips from the book and brunch and then let people hear certain parts of the conversation. And then I'm going to talk about grief and my journey on my social media page for the month of January. I'm sharing what we've talked about. I'm talking about grief, and I'm doing it on the Grace for This page. Why? Because my goal is to grow the grace for this community. So in January, I'm recapping last year and sharing specifically on grief. What should I do in February? Well, in February, I have a book. Okay, well, let's talk about loving yourself through the grief. And then I will use the book. I'll say Grace for This is devotion, and we'll do a 5-day love through the grief challenge. And what am I going to do? And I'm encourage people to sign up for the challenge. I want them to come into the room. Let's talk. I'm going to go live at 12 o'clock every day in the week instead of just on Wellness Work Wednesdays. Why? Because my goal is to grow the community, right? And so what is my ultimate leader? Why? You're going to grow into something at the end of this quarter. There's a big to do. Let's say if my goal was to grow the community and I made a numeric goal for that, if my goal was to grow to 500 followers in March, we're doing a campaign. We're doing a 500 followers campaign, and we're doing something that would drive traffic to our social media page. And so I'm using a social media example because a lot of times when you are building something, you need to have a captive audience so that people can opt in, they can respond to your call to action, they can sign up, or they can share it with other people. If you have a foundation and you want to bring awareness to a specific topic, you can't bring awareness if people don't know you're talking about it. So you still have to captivate an audience. Okay. I don't see any new comments coming up, so that is cool. I'll go ahead and go into the next page. All right, so you're looking at your quarter in one view. You're writing a couple of notes in there just so you can identify some specific things. You have a couple of bullet points there, so you can write down and jot down some things that you want to happen in January. Why? Because when you get to your actual full month layout, you can put on the calendar what day you want those certain things to happen. Okay, you can put in what day you want those specific things to happen. Why? Because you've already identified some key elements that's going to happen in January, February, and a big bang in March, right? And so you have your actual calendar here. So if you are launching a platform, if you are building a community online, if you're putting an Instagram and a Facebook page together, it's for traction purposes. I'll say this, you still have to have a purpose for how you want your social media page to work. You might want it for engagement. You might want it to give information. And you might want it just to market and show pictures of what your works look like. You have to make a decision on what that looks like for you. And you build your goals around how you use your social media based on that. Okay. Small caveat. Now, on this page, you see we've got January, top right corner. And on the left side, what do we have? The theme. Why? You should have a theme for your month. Even if you're not a social media person, if you're not a content planner, if you are doing catering, you still can have a theme for the month. Why? Because in January, people are deciding to eat healthy. So guess what? If you're a caterer and people are trying to curve their diet a little bit, why not feature some recipes or some displays of food or catering services that you have done that displays something healthy? So whatever it is that you are doing in your business, whatever your service or your product is, you still need to have a theme. Why? Because your theme gives you direction for what you're going to do week to week. Okay, so notice you have a week to week design here. So if your theme for the month is healthy eating, healthy catering, so week 1, what are you going to talk about? Healthy changes in your diet. Maybe you can talk about specific food items to exchange in your meals. If you do plated meals, what can you exchange on your plate for meat? that can be a vegetable. What does a veggie plate look like with your establishment? Okay. And then week 2, you can say, oh my gosh, here you go. What if you decided that each week you would feature some type of fresh fruit or vegetable in one color? So week 1, everything is red. Week 2, everything is orange. Week 3, everything is yellow. Week 4, everything is green. Ooh, this is good to me in real time. Okay. So you can talk about what's going on with those different foods and things, but you can have a different way of doing it from week to week. And so when you take your time and you plan out your month this way with the theme, and then you can follow the week to week model based on what that theme is, you don't have to think and come on, smaller portions. That's very good. You don't have to think as hard about what you're doing from week to week because your month has already set your tone. Okay. So on the far right, you see that there's a call to action and that there's an event. So inside of Grace for This, we're going to do a 21-day challenge. We're going to do a 21-day challenge, right? So let's say that at the end of every week, I want everybody to do something different. Let's say that on Friday, I want us to do something special every single Friday. So when I'm writing out my weekly theme, I'm going to kind of pencil in some kind of note here about what the call to action is. I might just want you guys to share with somebody. So the call to action is share this live with somebody. Look at the last post and send it to somebody. Send them something from our YouTube channel because we're on YouTube today. Okay. There is a call to action that you have. You are building something. And so what is it that you're going to tell people to do when you see them during that week? Decide what that call to action is and make sure you note it because you don't want to have to look around and think about it. I have my planner sitting right here beside me. So when I get into my January, I'm not going to have to figure out anything. I'm going to have January sitting over here propped up on my little paper holder situation here. Why? So you can do the same thing. You take your planner with you and you print it out and you have it with you and you have it as a point of reference right there. Okay. So if you have an event, you will take your event and you'll put your event on the week that it falls in. Why? Because from week to week, you'll know, okay, we got 2 more weeks until Wellness Work Summit. You know, you can look at what's going on in your month at a glance. You see everything in one spot. Now, what's the best part of this, y'all? What's the best part? You're the best part. The best part is, baby, we still got to do this wellness work. We still have to do this wellness work. Okay, so across the bottom of every monthly page, you guys, there is a category for our wellness work. Why? Because we're taking ownership of our wellness in 3 ways: personally, relationally, and professionally. So while you're in the midst of doing all that, you can be taking notes on some things that you want to change personally. What are you going to hold yourself accountable to? Because just because you're building a business doesn't mean that you don't take care of yourself and that you don't practice having healthy relationships, period. And then even in the wellness work under the professional category, what are some things that you need to do to keep yourself balanced inside of your work or your business? I'm going to stop the screen so I can see this question here, this comment here. I'm going to tell you what I did yesterday. I took myself to the shopping plaza up here where I live because I finished a meeting while I was riding. I did a working meeting while I was driving. And so when I got back and I finally got out of the car, my nature was to come in and start working on notes and prepare follow-up emails. But it was like, no. You have worked all day. You have driven. You commuted back home. You will not come in here and start working again. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to go outside. And so I went outside. I went to one of my plazas and I walked around inside of Home Goods. That's one of my things, y'all. The furniture stores and the house decorate. That's one of my things. Okay. So that was professional wellness work for me. I gave myself boundaries and I said, no, ma'am, you are not working anymore. You're done for the day. And so you guys will have to do the same thing. you will have to give yourself some parameters around healthy practices around your work schedule. Why? Because we are motivated. Yes, Chanel, we are motivated and we're ready to do the work. We feel a sense of urgency to be obedient, but we still have to practice healthy boundaries. We still have to take care of ourselves. We still have to measure how well we are balancing all of the things of us. We are spirit, we are soul, we are body. Our minds need a break. They need help and all the things. Okay. So, one more thing. We're wrapping up. Okay, we're doing good because I'm looking at this time and I'm gonna keep myself to this hour. Why? Because I have the rest. Y'all see me doing the work? Clap for me. Clap for me. All right, y'all doing good. Give me a thumbs up in the comment or some hearts if y'all are doing good. Okay. So yes, thank you, Sister Deborah. Thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. So that is how you do your month to month. That is how you do your month to month. Let me tell you something. This last section right here, got a little itch on my nose, y'all. This last section right here, it makes me smile very big. Why? Because we are hard on ourselves. We are hard on ourselves. What do we do to help ourselves along when we are really, really, sometimes we can be really, really rigid. We have to show ourselves grace sometimes, but we make progress and we don't always acknowledge our progress. So the last thing I want to share with you guys tonight is tracking your wins. Screw. You have to track your wins. Why? Because there's always going to be something else. There's never not going to be something else. So tracking your wins cannot be based on money. It can't just be based on revenue specific stuff. It can't be based on conversion rates. Okay. I'm talking grace for business language. So y'all just kind of follow me. This isn't grace for business, but we're builders and we're gonna be about that business as we lay this foundation. Okay. So we have to take our time and we have to track our wins in more ways than one. All right. So you'll notice that when you see these pages, there's a quote at the bottom of each page. I ain't gonna tell you all of them. You go through your plan and you see it. Okay. But I started off with every win doesn't equal to a dollar amount. Why? Because sometimes we only applaud ourselves if we make money. That's not accurate, especially if you're building something for the kingdom. That is not the only way that you're going to track your wins and your progress. Absolutely not. Okay. And so we got 4 kind of wins. I call it the 4CW model. 4CW. 4C wins. Okay. The first one is clarity. Oh my gosh. Clarity is everything. Why? Because if you don't know where you're going, how are you even what direction are you even walking in, y'all? If we don't have clarity, if we don't have clarity about what we're doing and why we're doing it, then I wouldn't recommend doing a lot because could be running full speed in the wrong direction. Okay, so when you get clarity about what you're doing, when you get those aha moments, when that thing clicks, oh honey, run to the back of this thing and write this clarity, write it down. Because that is worthy to be celebrated. Because sometimes we just don't know. Sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we just have to sit still and trust. And that is okay too. But when you do get that clarity, oh, come on and lift your hands and bless him. Okay. That is very important. So I want you to track it in the clarity win section. The second kind of win is connects. Oh my gosh, when you meet somebody, you connect with somebody, when you hear somebody's voice and you like, ooh, I rock with them. Like I want to connect with them. And then you have a dialogue with them and yeah, you realize like, yeah, I rock with you. That's like making connections. When you meet somebody whose baby leaps and your baby leap, like Elizabeth and Mary with John the Baptist and Jesus. Y'all, it's Christmas. Okay. When you make those connections, those are wins because you don't always find people who are similar in value and virtue. You don't always find people who are similar in value and virtue. So when you make those connections, you want to make note of them and have it as a reference point. Like, who did I meet today? I have a notification that goes off in my phone every single day. Who did you connect with today? Why? Because connections are important, and you want to create a pathway for you to go back and follow up with those individuals. Okay. The last one, not last, excuse me. The third one is collabs. When you make that connection with somebody and then y'all are actually able to work together on a project, you're able to collaborate. Y'all go live on each other platforms, like me and Deborah gonna finally do probably, I guess, in 2024. You know, when that thing comes together, it's really a win. And collaborative opportunities are a chance for your platform to grow and your audience to grow and for your impact to grow. Remember, we talked about dreaming big, and impact was one of those. We want to dream about how big of an impact that we can make. Okay. And so collaborations are opportunities for us to multiply our impact. Okay. Multiply our impact. And then our fourth C is conversions. Okay. Converting is a win, because when you convert, you can convert in more ways. I see it in more ways than just making the dollar amount, right? So you look at conversion rate. We follow people who follow versus people who click the button. Like people who click the button versus people who actually purchase. People who purchase, but then the people who actually come. The people who come versus the people who actually invite other people to come. Those are all like types of data measurement. Remember, y'all, I worked in data analysis. So we're tracking and trending information, and especially on the business side, because you're going to want to look at your serve, your sell, and your scale. Remember, serve, sell, and scale every single quarter. So your conversions are important, but also you convert from a connection to a collaboration, because you can connect with somebody, but it doesn't guarantee that y'all can actually share space in a platform at the same time. Now, y'all know I collaborate all of the day long. I'm gonna go ahead and take the screen down because that was our last section, right? Y'all know I collaborate all the day long. I'm trying to go live. I'm trying to have conversations with people. I want to bring people, I want to bring people to the grace for this platform and spotlight them. You know, you evolutionary, like that is 110% me all the time. Hey, on YouTube, y'all. So I am naturally a very collaborative person. And so you can convert from a connection to a collaboration, and collaborations will turn to conversions. Why? Because eventually people are going to want to opt into the value that you are providing. Okay. And so that is it, y'all. That is what I wanted to tell us for Builders Arise. I want you guys to make sure that you use this planner. I want you to take your time and plot out your obedience. Okay. When you look at that section where I'll hold up, quarter two, you're gonna do the same thing. You serve, sell, and scale every single quarter. What are your goals for that second quarter? Because every quarter is you are scaling. Every quarter you are scaling up to the next thing, but in each of your quarters you serve, sell, and scale. So you're just creating your own little, little plateau situation here, but you just rinse and repeat. And then for quarter two, you'll have wins and you'll follow those. In quarter three, you'll have wins and all of the different pieces. And as your year begins to flow and you look at how everything actually maneuvers, when you get towards the back of it, after you do your first quarter in 2024, if you know how you want to move things for 2025, go ahead and start plugging things in. If you know you want to shift some things around, you can go ahead and start doing that. You don't have to wait until fourth quarter of 2024 to work on 2025. Go ahead and start it out and plan it now. Go ahead and start plotting and planning it out now, because you don't want to use your capacity to think about things you're already sure about. I knew last year in March, I'm already in 2024. I knew this year in March that in 2024 in March, we're doing a Wellness Nerd Summit. It's going to be on March the 30th. Save the date. That is a Resurrection Sunday weekend. Oh my gosh. It's going to be for real out here. Okay. I cannot wait. Wait for it. But, ooh, Y'all, it's gonna be so good. Behave. Okay. All right. So we got 4 minutes. I want to ask if anybody has questions in the comments. If you would type it in. I don't want you to come off. I don't want you to come off mute or turn your camera on because we're streaming to the YouTube. So I don't know that people want to be on camera, everything, but I'm inviting you guys to write something in the comments. If you have a question, if that was helpful to you, let me know it was helpful to you. If it was helpful, drop a 1 in the comments. I want to know that you guys feel equipped in order to use your planner. I'm about to go crazy with a pencil. I did not say that. I am. Thank you, Deborah. That's good. I see a 1 inside of the Zoom room. Okay, so pencil, 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 y'all. Because if I write it here in ink pen and I can't erase it, I'm gonna want to print me a whole nother planner. I know that's problematic. Okay, thank you, Laura. I know that's problematic, but that's just how I need it to be pretty. Rules: do not, I repeat, do not, hear me, add other stuff into this planner. This is for the thing God told you to build. This is not for doctor's appointments. It's not the kids got this birthday party. It is not for old pastor got this going on at church. Okay, very good, Laura. This is the thing that God told you to build. This space is holy ground. It is consecrated. It is set apart. Don't put nothing else up in here. This is for grace for this. There's nothing else going in here. If it is not grace for this, grace to build. That's it. Yes. Harabis thoughts only. That is it. Why? Because you need to be able to go and look at your business. You need to be able to look at your be obedience and know exactly what it's doing. Do you realize how short our attention spans already are? And you're gonna throw something else inside of the planner that's for the obedience bill? What did the guy say? Shannon Sharp. Don't do that. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200. Don't do that. This is an exclusive space. This is an exclusive place. So honor it and treasure it and protect it. Why? Because when you can't remember what you're doing, you're going to go to this Grace to Build planner and you're going to say, okay, that's my theme for the month. Okay, what's my call to action? What I need to tell them on this live? Okay, but how many weeks until the event? Okay, we got 2 weeks. I need to be able to tell them. Why? It's giving you tips. You're going to be able to look at this and know in real time what you need to say. Okay. All right, y'all. That's it. The time is 8:59. I'm so grateful for you. I appreciate you guys jumping in here with me. I'm so happy to serve you. I am blessed. I'm really blessed to be able to create resources and workshops and classes and networking opportunities and different events that will serve you guys right where you are. So I want to say thank you for taking part in what we got going on inside of this community and this space. And don't hesitate to respond. Today's Tuesday, so y'all know tomorrow is Wellness Work Wednesday, and we're talking about our wellness work professionally, baby. We got 3 boss tips in order to finish strong. You know that our theme for this month is to finish strong. And so I will end by saying life can be hard and your journey can hurt, but commit to heal so your story can help. We're going through this because we're graced for this. And it's time for you to build. We'll help you heal. Builders, arise. I love y'all big. Have a beautiful night. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Shadell. Thank you, Deborah. Did I have 2 Deborahs? And thank you, Sade. All right, ladies, y'all have a good night. I'll see y'all tomorrow, 12 o'clock, Wellness Work. All right, we'll be on YouTube and we'll be on the Instagram page. All right, blessings.